Okay, DW Gaming here, and there is another developer update coming in November 2023. And they have some interesting changes coming, it looks like. Let's see what this is all about here. So, the end of the year is almost upon us, but we've still got news to share. In this developer update, we'll cover some of the new features and balance changes making their way to the game in our next update, including a new customization option, a sizable update to an existing killer, and gameplay passes for 2 realms. Player cards. A new customization option has arrived. Player cards are decorative banners and badges which appear in the top right corner of various menus. Your player card will also be featured in the post-match scoreboard so other players can see them as well. Yeah, it doesn't look that impressive. I don't know. I am not sure what the point of these are, but we'll see. Banners and badges can be mixed and matched as you please, and higher rarity ones will be more detailed, with some even being animated. Like other cosmetics, you'll be able to earn them in various ways, such as events, the Rift, through login rewards or promo codes, and so on. With this update, we've also cleaned up the menus and moved our player level and grades to a new player profile screen, accessible by clicking on your badge. Are they hiding grades now, or not sure? Oh no, the Huntress DC'd. Won't be able to spectate. A small selection of player card options will be available starting with this update, but you can expect to see a wider range of choices appearing over time. Yeah, this is not too impressed with this. The Trickster. When he's not working on his next album, because I'm sure that's what he's doing. He's following his other passion, throwing a boatload of knives at survivors. In this update, we're aiming to address points of frustration for both sides. For killers, many feel like the Trickster doesn't quite stack up to the other ranged options. For survivors, dodging blades could feel inconsequential since so few would injure you, making it feel unavoidable. That makes no sense. Okay. We'll be making a series of balance and quality of life changes to our resident rapid fire range killer. Yeah, Trickster's a horrible killer. They should just delete him. I can't stand Trickster. I don't like playing as him. I don't like playing against him. Like the Skull Merchant, he should just go. But that's not going to happen, unfortunately. So let's see what they have. Rapid fire. The Trickster's fast-paced attacks are what set him apart from other range killers, so we want to focus on this rapid fire machine gun gameplay for this update. We asked ourselves, what's better than throwing a bunch of knives? Answer, throwing even more knives. Wonderful. The Trickster now throws 4 blades per second, was 3 blades per second by default, and his throw rate no longer increases with each blade thrown. Okay. To keep this feeling fair for survivors, we have also increased the laceration meter to 8 hits, was 6, as well as decreased the time before it decays to 10 seconds, was 15. This means that the laceration meter will fill at the same rate as before, but successfully dodging blades will be a little more rewarding. Lastly, recoil when rapidly throwing blades can be tricky to deal with, particularly for those playing with a controller. Therefore, we have removed recoil entirely. This will make your blades easier to control, making them more skill dependent. The downside, you won't be able to blame the recoil for that blade you missed. I don't play this guy, so I really don't know what they're talking about. I'll do it for a daily ritual or a tome challenge, and that's it. I don't play him at all. It doesn't look like it's going to be very fair for survivors anyway. I mean, if you go against a good Trickster, it's not going to matter if you try to dodge. So I'm not sure what they're really trying to do here. As I said, they should just delete the killer. I can't stand him or the Skull Merchant. Both should go. Fast paced. To complement his quicker throws, we have also reviewed the Trickster's movement speed. The Trickster now moves at 4.6 meters per second by default. Okay, so they put him up to a base movement speed killer. They've increased his terror radius to 32 meters. Okay, why does Trickster get this special treatment, though? Honestly, Spirit and Hag should be 4.6. They aren't even ranged killers. I don't know why they're still 4.4. I understand being 4.4 if you're a ranged killer. Like Deathslinger should be 4.4 because he can always reload. Huntress is iffy because if you're endgame and you're trying to catch survivors and are all out of hatchets, you're pretty much going to lose if you stop to go for a locker reload. So Huntress is a little iffy, but Trickster, I don't understand why he's already a pain to deal with his stupid knives, and now they put him up to 4.6. And I'm all for having killers at 4.6. Honestly, I think almost every killer should be base movement speed. But some of them are actually, I think, will actually be too strong if they're base movement speed. There are a few exceptions to that. Trickster's one of them. Deathslinger is one of them. I don't understand why they're increasing his movement speeds. He gets a ton of knives when he reloads. They're making his rate of fire, they're increasing his rate of fire. I don't know why he's at 4.6 now. I'm not going to enjoy playing Survivor because I'm sure there'll be a lot of Trickster players now. I don't think these are good changes, honestly. If they're gonna bump him up to 4.6, they need to bump up Hag and Spirit. Main event. Main event allows you to throw even more blades even faster. However, this required you to hit quite a few blades to activate first, taking several chances to charge up. This made it feel fairly rare for the killer, but also made it a little frustrating if you happened to be the unlucky survivor to be caught when it was finally activated. As a result, we are making the following changes. Main event now requires 6 blades to charge, was 30. Main event duration has been reduced to 5 seconds, was 10. Yeah, I guess. I don't like these changes either. Honestly, I'm approaching this from the way I'm approaching it is from a survivor perspective because I never play Trickster. I hate playing Trickster. My aim is horrible. I don't like the character. I think it's a lousy character, and my aim is not that great, so I don't play him. So I'm looking at this from a survivor's perspective. That's going to be incredibly common now. Main event's going to be incredibly common. I really don't think this is a good idea. Even though it was reduced by 5 seconds, I don't think it's a good idea. Make main event available much more often. Yeah, I don't think that's good. It's not a good idea. Add-ons. Lastly, we reviewed the effects of a handful of his add-ons. Memento blades, decreased time between blade throws. Infernal wires, increased duration of main event. Decreases number of blades required to charge main event by 1. Increases main event duration main event. Oh boy, that's good. Yeah, this I don't know. I think they've made him overpowered with these changes. This is duration of main events increased. Photo card. I think that's the one that left you exposed if he hit you 4 times with a blade. Now it's for each consecutive blade hit, gain a stackable 1% haste effect up to a maximum of 7%. Okay, it's lost when missing a blade or putting a survivor into the dying state. Yeah, I don't think these are good changes at all. He's going to be too oppressive. This is not good. I'm not going to be playing solo survivor for quite a while if they go through with this. Because everybody will be playing this jerk. Yeah, not something to look forward to. Made for this. Even a small speed boost can make a big difference in the right hands. Yeah, no kidding. Making some survivors very difficult to hatch. Since made for this would activate is to catch. Made for this would activate as soon as a survivor became injured. This perk will often be unavoidable. To make this fair and create opportunities for killers to play around it, we have added an additional condition to the haste effect. After healing another survivor, gain the endurance stats effect for 10 seconds, unchanged. While you're affected by deep wounds, you run 3% faster. Since this is much more situational, this effect now applies while exhausted as well. So they're changing made for this. Let's go through this slowly. See what we can make of it. After healing another survivor, gain the endurance stats effect for 10 seconds. That's unchanged. While you are affected by deep wounds, you run 3% faster. Since this is much more situational, this effect now applies while exhausted as well. So they're saying it only made for this only activates when you're in deep wound. With this change, the killer can potentially prevent made for this speed boost from activating entirely by avoiding inflicting deep wounds on that survivor. This also ties both of made for this effects together, granting a way to gain deep wounds in order to make use of the haste effect. Okay. So it's not going to be activated when injuring a survivor. It's only going to be active when the survivor is put into deep wound. Which, yeah, I think made for this is dead. I don't think anyone's going to be using the perk now. Killer players will simply avoid putting people into deep wound. Now, some killers can't avoid it, like Legion and Deathslinger. They will, made for this will still be good against them. Especially Deathslinger because he's slower. But honestly, yeah, I don't see made for this lasting too much longer after this change. Which I've mixed feelings about. I don't think... I mean, this effectively kills it. Because killer players, smart killer players, will not go for a hit right after an unhook, or, you know, right after, if they can help it, right after a survivor heals another survivor, or at least picks them up off the ground. They will wait it out for the 10 seconds. So I didn't want this perk to be killed entirely. I mean, yeah, I know I've said it shouldn't never been introduced in the game. And honestly, it probably shouldn't, because now we're in this mess. And a lot of Survivor players are going to feel like they're being unfairly nerfed in this in a way. The problem with introducing perks like this to the game is that a lot of survivor players, not all, but a lot, are very entitled. And now they'll feel like they're being punished for no reason. When in reality, the perk itself made chases much more difficult. And that's why it shouldn't have been introduced in the first place. But now that survivors have gotten used to it and accustomed to it, they're going to be very, what should I say? Just, it's going to be a negative result, a negative impact on the survivor community for sure. What I would have done is, first of all, not release a perk like this to begin with. But secondly, if they insisted on releasing a perk like this, I would have made it so the effect lasts for a certain amount of time and then deactivates. It shouldn't last for as long as they're injured. You should put a timer on it. This kills it pretty much completely. So Made for this is pretty much DOA. Yeah, I don't see it being used anymore. As I said, it's going to be good with cures like Legion and Deathslinger. But smart killers are just going to avoid putting survivors into deep wound. And it's not hard to avoid that. So I don't see Made for this being a meta perk anymore. I don't see it being used a whole lot. It's interesting because they actually did nerf it. It took them forever to nerf Dead Hard, but this was faster, much faster than that. So that is interesting. Garden of Joy, are they deleting the map? I hope. Let's see. Garden of Joy. Joy for some, at least. Yeah. Not for others. We have gathered and reviewed feedback for the Garden of Joy map, and in this update we'll be making a series of changes to improve gameplay. First, we turned our attention to the windows of the large house. Previously, there were several strong windows which granted survivors plenty of distance each time they were vaulted, making some changes drag on. Yes, very much so. We have reviewed the layouts of these windows and breakable walls and make chases in this building fair. Okay. Second, we have rebalanced several pallet loops to bring them closer to the sweet spot where they are both useful to survivors and have the potential for killers to play around them. We have also cleaned up certain loops and removed some small objects which players might bump into by mistake. Lastly, we've made a few art changes throughout the map to both improve visibility of objects which block your path and introduce small pieces of lore throughout the environment. Okay. We'll have to wait and see how that is. Red Forest, another very problematic set of maps. Red Forest is home to both Mother's Dwelling and the Temple of Purgation. We have similarly reviewed feedback for both maps and are making a series of changes to improve gameplay on them as well. First and foremost, size. These two maps are some of the largest in the game, yes. This can cause some gameplay issues, costing the killer a lot of time to cross from one end to the other in search of survivors. We are reducing the size of both maps to bring them more in line with the rest of the realms. Good. Second, we've reviewed various pallet loops and reduced the amount of vegetation surrounding them, making it easier to identify loops at a glance. Okay. And that's it. All right. We'll have to wait and see, as I said. With that, we've reached the end of this developer update. Everything mentioned in this post will be available to try in the public test build, planned to start November 8th. So around a week or so, with the update going live on all platforms in the weeks following. We look forward to hearing what you think. Until next time, okay. So yeah, overall thoughts. It looks like it'll start next Tuesday or Wednesday on the PTB, and a few weeks after that. So probably, let's see, probably near the end of November, it'll go live. The balance changes for these maps are desperately needed, so that's good. We'll see what they do with them. Made for This is dead. I don't see it being used anymore. And the Trickster, honestly, I wish they would just delete this killer altogether. Horrible killer, horrible design. Pathetic aesthetics, just some nut job K-pop dude, not even scary, just stupid, wears lipstick. Just get rid of him and get rid of the Skull Merchant while you're at it. But since they're not going to, I think they're making him way too much of a problem now in this update. He's going to be busted, I think. I don't know why they felt the need to rework this killer, but I mean, he is really slow. What I would have done, I just would have made him 4.6, and that's it. That's all I would have done to him. I wouldn't have given him all these rapid fire options and given him any rework on main event. I mean, I think making him a base movement speed killer was enough. I wouldn't have given him all this. I don't think these are very good changes at all. Just make every killer 4.6 except for Nurse. She doesn't need it. I mean, there are a few that probably could arguably stay at 4.4. I'm thinking Deathslinger, definitely. Huntress, iffy. Especially at endgame. Hag and Spirit definitely need to be 4.6. But this guy, yeah, if deleting him was not an option, I would just made him 4.6, and that's it. Not giving him all this. This is gonna be a nightmare going against him now. I will not be looking forward to playing solo Survivor because everybody will be playing Trickster now. This is not good. Not good in my opinion. Lastly, these badges, they're whatever. So that's it for the developer update for November. And we will see how that goes towards the end of the month. See you in the next video.